bonjour! Today is day 4 of the Let's Be Mermaids Readathon, and today's video challenge is to do a book review! So the book I'm reviewing today is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So I finished the audiobook about a week ago, so I don't own the physical copy because I listened to the audiobook, and I absolutely loved it. It quickly became one of my favorite books of all time. Not only is it one of the best books I have ever read, but it's also one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. I gave this book 5 stars, and one of my favorite things about this book was Star. She's been through so much, so many horrible things have happened in her life, yet she was really strong. I really admired her strength. Her voice was just incredible, and I loved being inside her head. Another thing that I really loved about this book is how close Star was to her family. Usually in YA books, the family are just kind of there. They're not really main characters or super important to not only the main character, but also to the story. But in this book, they were, and I loved that. This book had such a strong emotional impact on me. I cried so much throughout it. For tears of joy, tears of sadness. There were moments where I was just so angry I wanted to punch someone. There were moments where I was terrified, like actually shaking. It was so scary. Another thing I really loved about this is not only is this such an important book to read because it tackles racism and police brutality, and there's a lot of a big discussion about that in America in this book, but I also think it tackles poverty really well. I think a lot of people forget how racism and class issues are sometimes entwined, and I think she did a great job examining those connections in this book. But anyways, that's all for the non-spoilery part of this video, so if you have not read The Hate You Give, do not continue on with this part because I'm gonna start spoiling it. So goodbye non-spoiler people, goodbye! So as I mentioned, her family was a really big part of this book, and my favorite of her family members was her dad. He goes by Big Math, and he's just so awesome. I love the part where he finds out that Chris is white and he calls him plain as Chris. I was laughing so hard. I love that scene. Even though Garden Heights is such a bad community, he cares so much about it, and he's really determined to make the community better and improve it, even at the cost of his family. I mean, yeah, eventually they move out, but for so long he was like, no, we have to stay here and we have to improve this community because it's important, even though it was hurting his family, and I loved that about him. I also had the biggest crush on her boyfriend, Chris. I just thought it was so adorable and sweet, and that scene where Star finally opens up to him at prom night completely gutted me. I was bawling my eyes out. It was just so emotional, and I love how right after that he goes on stage and he starts rapping the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to her. He's like, my bae and I, we had a fight, but like I'm here for her, and I just loved that. I also just really enjoyed the fact that Fresh Prince was just like their thing. It's the thing that brought them together and the thing they just really loved and enjoyed together. I just thought that was adorable. Now I want to talk about friendship. Her friend Haley pissed me off so much. Ugh, I hated her. I could not stand her. I was so happy when Star cut her out of her life and got closer to Maya at the end, when Maya is there and she's with Kenya, and I think Seven is there too. They're in Garden Heights. That scene just really made me emotional because Star was always talking about how she was 2 people in Garden Heights and at her school, and how she always wanted to combine those two, and she finally did at the end. She connected her 2 worlds. It made me so happy that Star finally got that. I want to talk about the ending. The ending was intense, except that one part where Star's mom was like sending her voicemails and she's like, you can throw tear gas at the police, but you can't respond to my voicemails? You're grounded. Laughing so hard. I love that part. When she threw tear gas at the police, I was just like, that's it. Someone's gonna get shot and that's it. The book's over. But then they made it out alive. I was like, yes. I was so relieved. Escaped the whole like riot and stuff, and I was like, okay, they're safe now. And then they go to her dad's store and then it catches on fire. I'm like, that's it. They're all gonna die. That's it. This book is over. But then they made it out alive. I was just so happy. I was really scared Devontae was gonna die because like he was already like injured and weak. So I was like, oh god, that's it. He's gonna die. Or like Seven was gonna get shot. But thankfully, they were all good and it ended well. Anyways, that's all for this review. I loved this book, and I'm just happy that it's so successful. It's been on New York Times bestselling list for months. They're making a movie, the casting has been released, so you know it's legit. It's not just like option and it never gets made. No, they're actually making it. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below what you thought of this book. My social media links are all down below. My Twitter, my Bookstagram, my Goodreads. Au revoir!